Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Active Listening. I'm Alyssa, your host, and I'm so incredibly glad you're joining me today for a conversation that I know will resonate deeply with so many of you. Let me paint a picture, one that might feel very familiar. You're watching an English movie, maybe a gripping drama or a hilarious comedy, and you're following along perfectly. Every line, every nuance, every joke lands. You understand the words, the phrases, the complex ideas being discussed. You think, wow, I'm really getting good at this. And you are. Your comprehension skills are sharp, honed by hours of dedicated listening. But then the scene shifts. You find yourself in a real-life situation, perhaps a casual chat with a native speaker, an online meeting, or even just trying to order a coffee in an English-speaking country. The moment comes when you need to open your mouth and express your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own simple request. And suddenly, the well runs dry. Your mind, which just moments ago was a bustling highway of understanding, becomes a quiet, empty street. The words, which felt so accessible when you were listening, now seem to vanish into thin air. Your tongue feels heavy, your throat tightens, and a wave of frustration washes over you. You know what you want to say. You can even hear it perfectly in your head, but it just won't come out. It's like your brain has a receive button that works flawlessly, but the transmit button is stuck. Does that sound familiar? Have you ever felt that profound sense of knowing, but not being able to show what you know? If you're nodding your head right now, or even sighing with a bit of recognition, then please know this. You are absolutely 100% not alone in this experience. This is perhaps the most common and, frankly, most disheartening challenge faced by English learners around the world. The feeling of understanding English perfectly, but just not being able to speak it. It's a paradox, isn't it? You've invested so much time and effort into listening, into absorbing, into building this incredible reservoir of knowledge. And yet, when it comes to the moment of production, it feels like there's a massive, invisible wall between your understanding and your ability to speak. I remember this feeling so vividly from my own language learning journey. There was a time when I could read a complex article or listen to a lengthy lecture in a new language and grasp almost every detail. I'd feel so proud of my comprehension. But then, if someone simply asked me, "What did I do today?" or "What do I think about that?" my mind would just seize up. I'd stumble over basic words, my sentences would come out jumbled, and I'd often resort to just a few hesitant words or even silence. It was truly disheartening because I knew, deep down, that I did understand. I wasn't unintelligent, I just couldn't articulate. It felt like I was carrying a heavy backpack full of knowledge, but I couldn't open it to take anything out when I needed it most. But here's the truly wonderful news, and I want you to hold on to this thought throughout our conversation today. This is a solvable problem. It's a hurdle, not a permanent wall. It's a common stage in language acquisition, a natural part of the journey, and one that countless successful speakers have navigated. And in today's episode, we're going to tackle it head on. We'll explore why this happens, delving into the specific, understandable reasons behind this common roadblock. More importantly, we're going to equip you with practical, actionable strategies and a crucial mindset shift that will help you bridge that gap between understanding and speaking. We're going to find that key to unlock your speaking potential together. So, whether you're just starting to notice this challenge, Or if you've been struggling with it for what feels like an eternity, please grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's begin this journey. My sincere hope is that by the end of this session, you'll feel more confident, more empowered, and truly ready to take those crucial first steps towards speaking English with greater ease, spontaneity, and most importantly, joy. Let's get started. All right, let's begin by truly understanding why this phenomenon occurs. Why is it that we can understand so much, yet struggle so profoundly to produce even simple sentences? It's not, and I want to emphasize this, because you're not smart enough or not trying hard enough. Often, it comes down to a few very specific, understandable, and entirely common reasons that are rooted in how our brains process language. The first major reason, and one that's foundational to this discussion, is the critical difference between what we call passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. Imagine your vocabulary as two distinct but connected rooms in your mental house of language. In one room, you have your passive words. This is a vast, comfortable lounge where words reside that you recognize instantly when you hear or read them. You know what they mean, you understand their context, and they make perfect sense to you. This room is usually quite spacious and well furnished for advanced listeners like yourselves. You might have thousands upon thousands of words in there, perhaps even tens of thousands. You encounter them in books, movies, songs, and conversations, and your brain efficiently decodes them. However, the active vocabulary room, the one you need for speaking, is often much smaller and feels a bit more cluttered for most learners. These are the words you can readily recall, retrieve, and use yourself spontaneously when you are speaking or writing. It's the difference between recognizing a familiar face in a crowd and knowing their name, being able to walk up to them, and initiating a fluid conversation. When you're listening, your brain is primarily in recognition mode. It's like a skilled detective, taking incoming sounds and matching them to meanings it already knows. This process is incredibly efficient. But when you need to speak, your brain has to switch gears entirely, entering production mode. It has to actively search for the right words, arrange them into grammatically correct sentences, select the appropriate tense, and then coordinate with your vocal cords, tongue, and lips to produce the sounds. All of this, mind you, in real time, often under pressure. This is a far more demanding and complex task than simply understanding. It requires a different set of mental muscles, and those muscles need specific training. This leads us directly to the second reason: the inherent mismatch between input and output in language learning. Listening and reading are primarily input activities. You are receiving information. Speaking and writing, on the other hand, are output activities. You are producing information. Think of it like this: you can spend years watching a master chef cook, understanding every ingredient, every technique, every step. You might even feel like you could cook the dish yourself just by watching. But until you actually step into the kitchen, pick up the knife, and start chopping, mixing, and sautéing, you haven't truly engaged in the output. Your brain processes input differently from output. When you listen, your brain is focused on comprehension, on extracting meaning. When you speak, your brain is focused on formulation, on constructing meaning. These are distinct cognitive processes, and while input is absolutely essential for building a strong foundation, it doesn't automatically translate into output ability. You need dedicated practice for the output muscles. Perhaps the most significant and insidious barrier for many of us is the deep-seated fear of making mistakes. Oh, this one is a big one, isn't it? It's a powerful, often subconscious force that can paralyze us just when we need to speak most. This fear often stems from our educational backgrounds, where mistakes were often highlighted, corrected, and sometimes even penalized. We were taught that correctness was paramount, and that making an error was a sign of failure or inadequacy. This conditioning can lead to a perfectionist trap. We want to speak perfectly with flawless grammar and pronunciation, and if we can't guarantee that, we'd rather not speak at all. The thought of mispronouncing a word, using the wrong tense, or fumbling a sentence can feel mortifying. We imagine being judged, misunderstood, or even laughed at. This anxiety creates a vicious cycle. The more we fear making mistakes, the less we speak. The less we speak, the fewer opportunities we have to practice and improve. And the fewer opportunities we have, the more the fear solidifies. It's like being afraid to swim because you might splash, so you never get in the water, and thus never learn to swim. Breaking free from this fear is not just about language. It's about a fundamental shift in how we view learning and progress. It's about embracing imperfection as a necessary part of the journey. Another common culprit is the habit of translating in your head. When you're listening, your brain is often directly processing English into meaning. But when you try to speak, especially in the early stages, there's a strong temptation to formulate your thoughts first in your native language, then translate them word for word into English before speaking. This creates a mental middleman that significantly slows down your speech. Imagine trying to have a fluid conversation, but every sentence has to go through a translator first. It's clunky, it's slow, and it's exhausting. Not only does it reduce your fluency, but it also often leads to unnatural sounding English, as direct word-for-word translations rarely capture the true idiom or natural phrasing of English. This constant back-and-forth mental gymnastics drains your cognitive resources and makes spontaneous conversation incredibly difficult. The goal, ultimately, is to think directly in English, to bypass that internal translator entirely. And let's not forget the lack of consistent, real-world practice opportunities. For many learners, especially those not living in an English-speaking country, the chances to actually speak English can be few and far between. We might consume a lot of English media, but if we're not actively producing the language, those speaking muscles simply don't get the workout they need. It's like wanting to be a great runner, but only ever reading books about running. You understand the theory, but your legs aren't getting stronger. Speaking is a physical act, involving muscle memory in your mouth and throat, and it needs regular, active engagement. Finally, a subtle but significant factor can be an over-reliance on grammar rules over natural fluency. While grammar is undeniably important for accuracy, constantly self-correcting every single word and tense before you even open your mouth can lead to what I call analysis paralysis. You're so busy trying to construct the perfect sentence in your head, applying every rule you've learned, that the moment for spontaneous speech passes you by. Native speakers, and even advanced non-native speakers, don't consciously apply grammar rules as they speak. They rely on intuition and patterns they've internalized through extensive exposure and practice. Focusing too much on perfect grammar in the moment of speaking can stifle natural flow and confidence. So, we've explored the why. Now, for the exciting part, the how. How do we bridge this gap? How do we move from understanding English to actually speaking it with more confidence and ease? It's a journey, not a single leap, and it involves a combination of practical strategies and a crucial shift in your approach. Let's dive into some actionable techniques you can start using today. Our first strategy is about transforming your listening into a powerful speaking tool. Active listening with a speaking focus. You're already great at listening, so let's leverage that strength. One of the most effective techniques here is called shadowing. Shadowing means listening to an English speaker and simultaneously trying to repeat what they are saying, almost like an echo. You're not just listening, you're actively mimicking. Find a short audio clip. It could be a scene from a movie, a segment of a podcast, or even just a sentence from a YouTube video. Play a sentence, and as soon as the speaker says it, try to say it yourself at the same speed, with the same intonation, and with as similar pronunciation as possible. Don't worry if you fall behind or miss words at first. The goal is to get your mouth and brain working together in real time. Start with short sentences, then gradually increase the length. The beauty of shadowing is that it forces your brain to process English for production, not just comprehension. It helps you internalize the rhythm, stress, and intonation of native speech, which are crucial for sounding natural. It also trains your mouth muscles to produce sounds and combinations that might feel unfamiliar. Try this. Find a short dialogue from a show you like. Listen to one character's line, pause, then try to say it exactly as they did. Then play it again and try to say it with them, almost like you're their shadow. This isn't about memorizing, it's about physical practice. Building on shadowing, our second technique within this strategy is listen and repeat, but with a focus on chunks, not just words. Instead of repeating single words, try to repeat natural phrases or short sentences. For example, if you hear, "I'm really looking forward to it," don't just repeat forward. Repeat the whole phrase, "I'm really looking forward to it." This helps you internalize common English patterns and collocations, making them easier to retrieve when you speak. It also trains your brain to think in chunks of meaning, which is how native speakers process language, rather than assembling sentences word by word. You can do this with any audio you listen to. Just hit pause, repeat the phrase, and then continue. Our next strategy is about starting small and building momentum with self-talk and daily monologues. You don't need a speaking partner to start speaking. Your best, most patient speaking partner is yourself. Begin by narrating your day in English. As you walk around your house, as you prepare a meal, as you commute to work, simply describe what you're doing, seeing, or thinking out loud in English. For example, "Okay, I'm going to make some coffee now. First, I need to get the mug. It's a blue mug. Then I'll pour the water into the kettle. The kettle is on the stove. I'm waiting for the water to boil." It might feel a little strange at first, but this practice helps you activate your active vocabulary in a low-pressure environment. You're practicing forming sentences, connecting ideas, and retrieving words without the fear of judgment. You can also describe objects around you. This is a table. It's made of wood. It has 4 legs. There's a book on the table. This simple exercise forces you to use descriptive language and practice basic sentence structures. The key is to make it a daily habit, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes. Strategy number 3 encourages structured practice through role-playing and scripting, even if you're doing it alone. This might sound a bit like playing make-believe, but it's incredibly effective. Think about common scenarios where you might need to speak English. Ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions, checking into a hotel, or even just having a casual conversation about your weekend. Choose one scenario and imagine a conversation. You can even write down a simple script for both sides of the conversation. For example, if you're practicing ordering coffee, you might write, "Hi, can I get a large latte, please?" And the imagined barista's response, "Sure, anything else?" Your reply, "No, that's all, thank you." Then practice saying both parts out loud. This helps you prepare for predictable interactions, build confidence in specific phrases, and reduce the cognitive load when you encounter these situations in real life. You're essentially preloading your brain with useful language chunks. You can also imagine having a conversation with a friend about your day. Ask yourself questions and answer them. What did I do today? I went to the market. What did I buy? I bought some fresh vegetables. This structured approach helps you move beyond isolated words to forming coherent ideas. Our fourth and perhaps most liberating strategy is to embrace imperfection, the true power of mistakes. This is a mindset shift that is absolutely crucial. For many of us, the fear of making mistakes is the biggest roadblock. We strive for perfection, but perfection is the enemy of fluency, especially in the early stages. You will make mistakes. Everyone does, even native speakers sometimes. The goal, especially when you're trying to get past the understanding but not speaking stage, is not to speak perfectly, but to speak understandably. Focus on getting your message across. Think of mistakes not as failures, but as invaluable learning opportunities. Every time you make a mistake and someone corrects you, or you realize it yourself, that's a moment of growth. It's your brain adjusting and refining its understanding. Shift your internal dialogue from, "Oh no, I made a mistake. I'm so bad at this," to, "Ah, that's interesting. Now I know how to say that better next time." The more you speak, the more mistakes you'll make, and paradoxically, the faster you'll improve. Give yourself permission to be imperfect. It's okay to stumble, to hesitate, to use simpler words. What matters is that you're trying, you're engaging, and you're learning. Strategy number 5 focuses on expanding your output tools beyond just individual words. Fluent speakers don't just string together words. They use phrases, idioms, and conversational fillers. Start by learning and practicing sentence frames or chunks of language that you can easily adapt. For example, instead of just learning happy, learn "I'm happy to hear that" or "I'm happy about this." Instead of think, learn "I think that" or "What do you think about?" These frames provide a scaffolding for your sentences. Also, pay attention to how native speakers connect words smoothly. English often uses linking sounds. For example, an apple sounds like a napple. Practice saying these connected sounds. Finally, embrace common conversational fillers. These aren't bad English. They're natural parts of conversation that give you a moment to think and make your speech sound more authentic. Phrases like, "you know," "like," "I mean," "well," "so," "actually," "right," or "let me see" can buy you precious seconds to formulate your next thought without resorting to silence. Listen for them in native speech and try to incorporate them naturally into your own practice. Our sixth strategy is about actively seeking speaking opportunities, no matter how small. This is where the rubber meets the road. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, there are countless ways to create these opportunities. Look for language exchange partners online through apps or websites designed for this purpose. Many people are eager to practice their native language with you in exchange for English practice. Join online communities or forums where English is spoken. Even typing in English in a live chat can help you formulate thoughts more quickly. If you have friends or family who are also learning English, agree to practice speaking with each other for a set amount of time each week, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Don't be afraid to try speaking English to your pets or even inanimate objects. The goal is simply to get your mouth moving and your brain producing English sounds. Many language learning apps also offer speaking practice features, utilizing speech recognition to give you feedback. Utilize these tools. The key is consistency and actively seeking out any chance, big or small, to produce the language. Remember, every single word you speak, no matter how hesitant, is a step forward. Beyond these practical techniques, there's a crucial layer of mental work involved in overcoming the understanding but can't speak barrier. Our minds play a huge role in our ability to perform, and language learning is no exception. Let's talk about overcoming those mental barriers. First and foremost, it's about managing anxiety. That feeling of your mind going blank, your heart racing, and your palms sweating when it's your turn to speak? That's anxiety, and it's a natural human response to perceived pressure. Before you speak, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. This simple act can calm your nervous system. Remind yourself that it's okay to be nervous, and that nervousness doesn't mean you're failing. Use positive affirmations. I can do this. It's okay to make mistakes. I am a learner and I am improving. These small mental shifts can make a big difference. Next, focus on building confidence by celebrating small wins. Don't wait until you're perfectly fluent to feel good about your progress. Did you manage to order your coffee in English today? That's a win. Did you successfully narrate your morning routine to yourself? That's a win. Did you understand a complex sentence and then manage to rephrase it simply? That's a win. Acknowledge and celebrate every tiny step forward. These small victories accumulate and build a powerful sense of self-efficacy, making you feel more capable and motivated to continue. Keep a small journal where you note down your speaking successes, no matter how minor they seem. Consistency is absolutely key, far more important than intensity. It's much better to speak English for 10 to 15 minutes every single day than to have 1 2-hour speaking session once a month. Short, regular practice sessions keep your speaking muscles active, reinforce new patterns, and prevent that rustiness from setting in. Even if you just spend 5 minutes describing your breakfast out loud, that consistent effort will yield far greater results over time than sporadic, intense bursts. Make speaking practice a non-negotiable part of your daily or weekly routine. It's also vital to find and reconnect with your core motivation. Why do you want to speak English? Is it for travel, for work, for connecting with people, for personal growth? When you feel frustrated or stuck, remind yourself of your why. Visualize yourself confidently speaking English in the situations you dream of. This powerful internal motivation will help you push through the difficult moments and stay committed to your goal. Write down your why and put it somewhere you can see it every day. And please, please do not compare yourself to others. Everyone's language learning journey is unique. Some people pick up speaking faster, others take more time. Some have more opportunities, others have to create them. Your journey is your own, and your progress is valid. Focus on your own growth, celebrate your own milestones, and remember that comparison is often the thief of joy and confidence. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. As we wrap up our discussion, I want to offer a few more advanced tips and thoughts on what comes next on your speaking journey. One incredibly insightful practice is to record yourself speaking. Yes, I know it can feel a little awkward or even cringeworthy to listen to your own voice, but it's an incredibly powerful tool for objective self-assessment. Use your phone or a simple recording app. Record yourself doing one of the self-talk exercises or practicing a role-play scenario. Then listen back. You'll start to notice patterns in your pronunciation, areas where you hesitate, or grammatical structures you consistently struggle with. This awareness is the first step toward targeted improvement. It's like being your own coach, giving yourself feedback. You'll also be able to hear your progress over time, which is a fantastic motivator. Another crucial tip, especially when you're trying to break through the can't speak barrier, is to focus on fluency over accuracy initially. What does this mean? It means prioritizing getting your words out, even if they're not perfectly grammatically correct, over trying to construct a flawless sentence that never materializes. Don't stop yourself mid-sentence to correct a tense or a preposition. Just keep going. Get the message out. Once you've built up some momentum and confidence in speaking, you can then go back and refine your accuracy. Think of it as building a house. First, you need to get the basic structure up, even if it's a bit rough around the edges. Then you can go back and add the windows, paint the walls, and perfect the details. Fluency is about flow. Accuracy is about precision. You need flow before you can truly refine precision in spontaneous speech. Finally, remember that true immersion goes beyond just listening. It involves active engagement with English speakers and the culture. If you have the opportunity, even online, try to interact with native speakers. Ask questions, share your opinions, participate in discussions. The more you put yourself in situations where speaking is necessary, the faster you'll adapt. Watch English TV shows and movies, not just for understanding, but for how people interact. Notice the pauses, the reactions, the natural back and forth of conversation. So there you have it. We've journeyed through the common frustration of understanding English but struggling to speak it. We've uncovered the reasons why this happens, from the difference between passive and active vocabulary to the input-output mismatch, the paralyzing fear of mistakes, the slowdown of mental translation, and the simple lack of consistent practice. But more importantly, we've armed ourselves with a powerful arsenal of strategies. Transforming listening into speaking practice through shadowing and listen and repeat. Building confidence in low-pressure environments with self-talk and daily monologues. Preparing for real-world interactions through structured role-playing and scripting. Embracing imperfection and viewing mistakes as vital learning opportunities. Expanding our speaking toolkit with sentence frames and natural conversational fillers. And actively seeking out every possible speaking opportunity, no matter how small. Remember, this isn't a sign of failure. It's a natural stage in your language learning journey. You have built an incredible foundation of understanding. Now, it's time to activate that knowledge to give voice to the English that already resides within you. Be patient with yourself, be consistent in your practice, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. Every word you speak, every hesitation you push through, every mistake you learn from is a step forward. I encourage you to pick just one or two of these strategies and commit to trying them consistently for the next week. See what a difference it makes. And I would absolutely love to hear about your experiences. What are your biggest challenges when it comes to speaking? What strategies have worked for you? Share your thoughts and tips in the comments below, and let's build a supportive community together. Thank you so much for joining me today on English Active Listening. It's truly a privilege to be a part of your language journey. Keep listening, keep learning, and most importantly, keep speaking. You've got this. I'll be back soon with another episode to help you on your path to English fluency. Until then, take care and happy speaking.